Good morning, Philadelphia Eagles fans, and good morning, NFL fans, to week 2 of the 2018 football season. This week, our Philadelphia Eagles travel down south to play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are also 1-0. Now, of course, we're coming off a big victory for many reasons against the Atlanta Falcons here at Lincoln Financial Field last week, where our Eagles took on the Atlanta Falcons again in a close game again that came down to the last seconds again, and found a way to win 18-12. It's a great night. I think you guys saw what I posted. You guys that belong to this channel saw what I posted being at the game itself. Very exciting, very electric. Of course, we unveiled the banner for the 2017 season championship, and we had a lot of fun. A little dicey in the first half, kind of like the playoff game, but in the end, our defense held Julio Jones outside of the end zone on the final play, final 2 plays, and came in with the victory. There's a lot of stuff that we can learn from that as we move forward into the rest of this season. One of the things that we can definitely learn from this game that we just had is moving on from the past. Yes, I absolutely had a lot of fun at the game with all the fans and celebrating what we did last year. But as I keep on hearing the same songs and seeing the patches from Super Bowl 52 and just as we keep reliving the past, it might doom us if we stay there. So yes, I think last week should be the last time that we keep looking to the past during the season, and we need to start moving on so we can start focusing on what we need to do this year, which is to win another championship. That being said, we're going to actually be playing a dangerous Tampa Bay Buccaneers team, and I would not imagine saying that with Ryan Fitzpatrick as being the quarterback, but the fact is, they scored 48 points last week against the Saints and came away with a victory. Before I dive in more with the specifics on their team, anytime I think about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, I think about the YouTube channel Hillsbury34. I tune into him. I don't think he's been doing videos as of late. I hope to bring him out of retirement, but this is a guy we actually became friends over a period of last couple of years when the Eagles played the Bucs, and we even actually hung out down here in Philadelphia when he came here for business. So Hillsbury34, you're an awesome Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan from down there in Florida. I wish you all the luck. And also, let's be realistic and bring it back for a second as well. I hope you don't get negatively affected by Hurricane Florence, because I know the people in the Carolinas, all my Carolina Panthers fans, Cali Blue, another YouTube channel. I hope you're doing okay down there, and all your prayers to all the people that are being affected by the hurricane. I hope that we can think a little bit bigger about than football and think about the people that are being affected by the storm. But moving on, Tampa Bay Buccaneers this week. They're a very weird team in my perspective, because nobody really expected them, especially to do anything the first 3 weeks while Jameis Winston is suspended with Ryan Fitzpatrick, which has been a journeyman throughout the NFL. I think the last time he was significant, he was at the Jets. But people aren't expecting too much from a backup quarterback, and we know very well what that means with us playing Nick Foles. Nobody expected us to do well, and you know how that ended up. So Ryan Fitzpatrick is kind of in the same spot, where when Jameis Winston comes back, I think it's of their mentality that he's their franchise quarterback, so there's no way in the world that they're going to sit him for Ryan Fitzpatrick. But we'll see, because I think if he stays hot, I don't know. I think the job might be a little bit more up for grabs than we like to think. But then, that means he's dangerous. That means he can air it out, and he has nothing to lose, and he has everything to gain. And he proved it last week. Dude threw for over 400 yards, I think 417 yards. He was 21 for 28 with 75% completion rate, and he had 4 touchdowns. Right now he's just airing it out. Last week they didn't have much of a run game against the Saints, and it didn't look like defense was pretty much apparent there at all. But the guy passed for over 400 yards. If you're in the NFL and you pass for 400 yards, you're doing pretty good. And how did he do that? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers actually have a really good wide receiver / tight end core. where you have to talk about Deshaun Jackson. His health is in concern of this week because of concussion protocol and shoulder injury. And they're not even going to announce if he's going to play until 90 minutes before kickoff. But the guy had 5 catches, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns. He gets it from those bombs. We know very well from here in Philadelphia. You just bomb it out to Deshaun Jackson, the guy can get under the ball and score touchdowns. And that's what he did last week. You got Mike Evans. That guy had 7 catches, 147 yards, and a touchdown. Got Chris Godwin. Got O.J. Howard. I mean, that's 4 right there. That's a threat. So you better believe we should expect for Ryan Fitzpatrick to go right back to the bread and butter of what helped them win last week and air it out against our Eagles secondary, which becomes a key to the game. The key to the game is, yes, Nigel Braddock coming back, thank goodness. So it helps bolster that linebacker core that's going to help keep O.J. Howard off. But I think our secondary against our wide receivers is huge. I mean, Sidney Jones against whoever they pair them with, and Malcolm Jenkins because he's going to have to play back and make sure we don't get beat deep with a guy like Deshaun Jackson or Mike Evans. But also be able to come up if they decide to switch it up and run the ball a little bit more than they did last week because they didn't have that much rushing last week. We're going to be playing a nickel defense, which means 5 defensive backs, I suspect, for most of the game. So Malcolm Jenkins is kind of like that joker, that wild card on our defense that's going to switch it up and allow for us to essentially go from a 4-3 to a nickel while we have the same personnel on the field. For our offense, now is this a case of Nick Foles not having the greatest of games, or is this a case of our team matching up with Atlanta a certain way and having close games like we did last year in the playoffs and like we did last week? And Nick Foles barely threw over 100 yards. He had some mistakes that should have ended in interceptions, and then he had to pass it Dallas Goedert, which did end up in an interception. But overall, what did he do? Nick Foles and the Philadelphia Eagles, including the defense, won the game. Also with creative play calling. Yes, we had another Philly special. And it energized the team and allowed for us to go down the field and score. So can we do that again? Philly specials every week? Probably not. But can we continue to stay aggressive and creative to score points and win games? Yeah. But what do we need on our offense? Our offense is down. I just read this morning. I'm kind of glad I didn't do the video earlier because one of my keys of the game was Darren Sproles. Darren Sproles is out for the game, hamstring injury. So he's not going to play. So for running backs, Jay Ajayi, I know he had 2 touchdowns, but he's not that healthy with his foot. So Corey Clement becomes a lot bigger and be able to catch the ball out of the backfield. We need somebody close enough to Alvin Kamara, which last week he absolutely torched Tampa Bay. We need somebody kind of in that role, but then we need production from our wide receivers, and we need Zach Ertz to catch more balls and not to have turnovers like we did with Dallas Goedert. We have to lean on Nelson Aguilar. He's actually been very consistent, and he's been catching a lot of balls. He caught 8 passes last week. You also have to rely on Mike Wallace. Mike Wallace, you have to show up. There's been a lot of talk about how Mike Wallace is an upgrade over Torrey Smith, but we have to see it on the field. He did get behind Atlanta's defense, and Nick Foles underthrew him, but we have to find a way to get him the ball, not just with deep balls, but over the middle. Our wide receivers need to take advantage of very young secondary that they have and air it out. And for our tight ends to go against them. So it's really our secondary, their secondary playing against the other team's wide receivers. And who can establish a running game good enough to keep the defense honest so they can't just play deep the entire game and have it be a stalemate. I believe our defense is better than their defense, so it might come down to that, but we have to limit it. And yes, our defensive line, as usual, has to get to Ryan Fitzpatrick. Has to. He's a little bit more mobile than we like to give him credit for, so it's not going to be easy. Like I said before, I think we're up for the challenge, and I think we can do it. So this week, we travel down to Florida. My buddy Hillsborough 34, and hopefully continue on a winning path that will lead us back to the playoffs and a chance to repeat as Super Bowl champions. So this week, let's move on from the dreams and nightmares of last year's season. Because it'd be a nightmare if we stayed living in the past that keeps us from our dream of staying on the top. Let's do it with a strong defense, opportunistic offense, creative play calling, and the passion and the heart that we've learned to love about our Philadelphia Eagles, to stay focused, to stay drive, and stay with the mentality of a champion of no days off. Take no time off, take no team for granted, and win and do what it takes for us to get another opportunity to get in the playoffs and defend our title. So let's go down there, let's play hard, let's play tough against Tampa Bay, and let's come home with a victory and be 2-0. Let's go Birds, baby. E-A-G-L-E-S, Eagles! Beat Tampa.